Hi everyone, welcome back to the 7th part of our thread clone tutorial. Today we are going to implement the like functionality. If you are finding this tutorial to be helpful and interesting, please consider subscribing, like, and also share the video as well. And also, if you haven't watched the previous 6 part series of this tutorial, I've linked them down in the description below so you can check them out. So now let's get started. So within our thread message model, we'll be adding an additional information, and that's we'll be adding a list of likes, right? So this is going to hold the ID of the users, right? So within the thread message, you need to require that in the constructor as well. And also, to map method is also going to take in the likes. And from map, you need to also make the necessary changes over here. So that's going to be list dot from the map of likes, and that's going to be as likes. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. We can get rid of these comments and saving the changes over here. So this thread message expects likes, right? And we're going to access that from our message data, then pass in the likes. So by default, we're going to provide an empty array over here. So let's proceed with the functionality in liking a thread message and also disliking a thread message, right? So down here, I'll be creating a function. And the function name is going to be like thread message. So here it takes in the string of an ID. And it's going to be an asynchronous function as well. Within the like message, we're going to have try catch over here, right? So here we take our thread collection .doc, then we pass in the ID, then update the like field. So in updating the likes field, it's going to be likes, then field value dot array union, right? So we'll be storing our user ID since it's unique for individual. So we need to get our current user ID, right? So I'll bring in here for my current user. So we can access our current user from Firebase auth.current user. So I'll create a variable final user ID, and that's going to be from our Firebase auth.instance.current user.uid. So once we have our user ID, you can just provide it within the array union, and that will store the user ID. So within the catch block, we just print out the error. So the back print error.toString. So I'm repeating the same thing, right? So in disliking the thread message, so the function is going to be renamed to dislike thread message, and that's going to take in the ID as well. We are going to move within our thread collection.document, passing the ID, then we update the likes field, and in updating the likes field, it's going to be array remove, then we pass in the user ID. So that's basically the functionality in liking also disliking a thread message. Within the press of this function, that's where that function is going to get called, right? So in here, you need to check the state of the likes, right? If the message.like.contains the user ID, right, meaning it has already been liked, right? So in here, let's bring in the user ID. So I'll grab the user ID from here, and place it over here. Let's get rid of the cons in here. There you go. So we check if our message.likes contain the user ID, which means it has already been liked. Then we call a function that will dislike the message, right? And I'm going to name this function as onDislike. Else the message has not been liked, then I'll call another function to like the message, and that's onLike. So we perform two functions based on the state of the likes, right? So I need to create two state variables over here, and the return type is going to be a function, right? Void function. So I'm going to name this like onLike. So I'll be creating an additional function, and that's going to be onThisLike. So once you have that, we need to pass that within the constructor. Require that in the constructor as well. So onLike and also onThisLike. So let's check for the onThisLike, the spelling. So you can pass onThisLike, saving the changes over here. So if our message.like.contain the user ID, you are going to onLike, onThisLike, and also otherwise you are going to like. So you are going to do something similar in rendering the icon. So if message.likes.contain the user ID, you're going to return an icon, and the icon name is going to be the favorite icon with a color of red. So that basically means that message has been liked. So the color is going to be colors.red. Else we are going to render the favorite icon again. This time around it's going to be the outline version, and we don't need the color over here. There you go. So let's wrap the icon button within a column so you can display the text below it. So I'll wrap it within a column. So next to the icon button or below the icon button is going to be a text that's going to render the number of likes, right? That's also going to be based on our message likes, right? We check if it's empty. We don't want to render the 0, right? We are going to return an empty string. Else we render the message.likes, the length of the message likes, right? So we need to convert that to a string. There you go. I think that's pretty much it. So within our thread message widget, it expects the onLike and also onThisLike, right? So in disliking the message, you need to pass in the function, and you're going to call our dislike thread message function, right, which expects an ID. We can access the ID from our messages, then we pass in the index.id. That's the document of each thread message. And also in liking the message, we are going to provide it the like thread message function, right? It also expects an ID and can access the ID from our messages index.id. So as it seems we have an error within a profile screen, right? So let's check for that. We are returning a thread message over here. So basically we need to pass in the likes, right? That's going to be from our message data. Then we access the likes field. And down below also expects the likes as well. So the message data dot likes and the thread widget, thread message widget also expect two functions, the onThisLike and also the onLike. So I'll just grab this. I'll grab these two functions over here. It's going to be similar to that. I mean the same thing. So since we provide the dislike and also the like function, we need to bring in a function as well within that file. So I'll just copy that in within the profile screen. I can just paste in the two functions, and we need our thread collection in this file as well to access our database, right? So I'll also grab that from our feed file. So we need our thread collection. There you go. So here we need to change it to a user thread, right? This is also going to be a user thread. And also we need to bring in the user ID. We already have our current user over here, so we can just access the ID by calling our current user.uid. Let's check for the null over there. It'll be doing same thing in this, like in the message, our current user.uid. There we go. So we can give it a try. Boom. You can see you can like a message, right? And it reflects within our database the like field, which is an array storing the user ID. And this makes it unique for each user, right? So you can give it a like multiple times, right? So once you hit on twice, you are going to dislike it. Let's solve this issue, right? It's always returning a circular progress indicator. So within our profile screen, in accessing our message lists, we also need to return an empty array, right? There we go. There. How cool is this? So that's basically liking, also disliking the thread message, right? So here I'm bringing in another logged in user from the emulator, so you can see the two effects, right? So when like here, it immediately reflects over here, right? How cool is that? So let's continue. So in here, let's render the users within our database, right? It's not going to be static as you've seen over here, right? And also to do that, we also need to refactor this code implementation. So first of all, let's bring in our users collection, right? We want to render our users over there. So I'll just grab my users collection, and within my insert screen, I'll just paste it over here and import our Firebase Firestore. So once we have that imported, let's first of all comment this out. So in here we'll be having a stream builder, right? And the stream is going to listen to a function, so we'll provide it our our users collection dot snapshots. And also the builder is also a function that takes in the context and also the snapshot. So in here the snapshot is what actually hosts the data, right? So within that, we can check for the state of the snapshot over here. So if our snapshot dot has data, we want the opposite of that. We are going to return a circular progress indicator that has been centered. Let's also check for the error, right? So else if our snapshot dot has error, we can return a text displaying the error, right? So the text is going to be centered. So we can access that by using snapshot.error. So if our snapshot has data, right, that's when we are going to return our list view builder, right? And it takes in the item builder. That's a function that takes in the context and the index. So in here, in the item builder, it returns a widget, right? So first of all, let's set a shrink wrap to true, and also the item count. So to access the item count, let's first of all assign the snapshot.data to a variable known as the users, right? So I'll create a variable users and assign snapshot.data.docs. So the item count is going to be our users.length. So we can get rid of this comment. So let's get our single user over here. So you can access that from our users Then we pass in our index of each user. Then we can access the data, and that's going to be as map of string and dynamic. So once we get our user, we can return our suggested follower. And before we do that, let's first of all create a variable of follower, right? And that's going to be our suggested follower, passing in all the details from our database, right? So it expects ID, username, profile image URL, and also is following. So the ID, we are going to pass in the user, then we access the ID field. We'll be doing something same to the username and also the profile image URL. So here we need to pass in the user. So user, then we access the username, we access the profile image URL. So this by default, let's set it to false. We come and work on that. So once we have that, we can now return our suggested follower, passing in the follower. There we go. So we are now going to request the image from online, so we need to change it to network image. So let's hot restart and see. There we go. How cool is that? You can see we have 2 users, right? Yeah, still having an error. Let's check out as signup.dat. So in saving the user's details, you only saving the name and also the username, right? In bringing it, we want to access the ID field, right? So let's pass in ID. So once the user sign up, we are going to have an ID field over here. So we can now access the ID. So I just pass in the ID field of each user over here. So I think that's pretty much it. Let's run in debug again. How cool is that? You can see our users with no errors. So that's basically it.